Hi everybody, welcome to Caketastic Cakes. It's Jen and I'm going to show you how to make Oogie Boogie out of gum paste. Okay, just like always, if you have any supplies or tools you see me using that you need, if you check the link in the description below, it should be able to help you out. Alright, I'm starting with his body. I've got this dull green color that I've kind of made into a big, tall, sloppy Hershey kiss. I made the top pretty tall as you saw and bent it over, and that's going to be his head, that little piece of his cloth, I guess, that falls down in the back. I made a little divot in down the center of it, and now I'm using my fingers to kind of roll around and press out a neck. So now he's got a little bit of a neck separating him from his body. I'm using my small ball on my ball tool there to press in and lift up to make his eyes. And when you're doing this, you want to be careful because his eyes are pointy in the front and they kind of flare out in the back, kind of like a teardrop. So try to make sure you keep that feel, that look going. I'm using my knife just to cut a big, wide, gapping mouth in his face there. And I'm just going back again now with a veining tool and trying to make his eyes a little better, make him a little pointy, a little bit bigger on the top like I had mentioned already. So now I'm just adding some lines around him with the veining tool. I'm just pressing down, pressing in. I'm just wrinkling him up. I'm trying to make him look more like he's a sack of bugs than just a nice smooth oogie boogie. So once you get all those on, I'm going to add some to his face, go over top of his mouth to accent it some more, make it look more, puppety. And then we're moving on, okay? We're going to do his arms now. I rolled out that same messy green that I got there into a cylinder. I cut off flat on one end, and I'm kind of flattening off and making the other end real tapered because his arms and his legs just go very quickly and abruptly into a small little point. So that's what I'm trying to do there. I pinched the edge of the back of his arm to make it so that's where the seam would go for his stitches. So I'm going to put some marks on there later, you'll see me do. And I'm just having his hand, resting on his kind of sort of hip if he had a hip. And I bent his hand over. I'm using the back of the knife to add some wrinkles to his arms and the joints just to make it look a little better. Doing the same thing on the other side. I rolled it out, kind of flattened it, made sure it was tapered at the one end, cut it at an angle, and then used some water and stuck it on. And as you saw too, I put his arm so it went across his body, but I'm going to have him holding the dice, so that's why I did that. And now I'm doing his feet. I'm making them just like his arms, but way shorter. He just has stumpy little feet. They're very small. Little legs. That's what I did. And I flattened off on the one end, as you see, so I can slide it right under his body, just like that. And now I'm going to take care of the dice. I just took some white, kind of flattened it with my paddle there, and just cut out two little squares as good as I could do them. Put them aside and let them harden, okay? They're going to have to harden up a little bit before we add them to Oogie Boogie. I put a little bead of black gum paste into each of his eye sockets, and I'm using the small part of my ball tool once again to just kind of smooth it into the eye socket to fill it in, to give it all the darkness that should be there. And I'm doing the same thing with his mouth. I just took a long thin piece, rolled up, shoved it in there. Now I'm smoothing it all out with my ball tool to fill in the mouth, give it that depth, that shadow effect that he has in the movie, and making it nice and smooth, nice and neat. There he is. All right. I'm using my black food coloring marker to put a couple marks on his lips, the top and bottom of his lips, because he has kind of that stitch mark, and I'm trying to emulate that. I'm putting the black marks on the back of his arms, on the side of his legs, just like I mentioned earlier. I put little X's to make it look like stitch marks, sloppy stitch marks. And now I'm using brown marker, the edible food coloring marker, to accent all those lines and indentations I made before. You're going to see what I'm going to do now, because right now you're probably like, no, it looks so stupid now. But it's okay. It'll all work out. This way he's going to have some shadowing. He's going to have some blending of colors. And all I did is I took that paintbrush there and I just keep dipping it in water. And because it is a food coloring marker, when you add water to it, it blends and bleeds out. So I am just washing out all those lines that I put on him. But as you can see, some of it's sticking around, and that way it'll get into the cracks a little bit more. It'll also spread some more shading to him around his body, especially in the areas that I did do the lines. So I think he looks better this way. And I do have another Oogie Boogie video from a long time ago. He looks a little different. He's holding a caterpillar, I think. I don't know. You can always see how your art changes over time. Like this one, I feel like has come such a long way. I do also have other Nightmare Before Christmas character videos, so if you want them, just search for them in my channel and you'll find them. They are out there. But in the meantime, I am just keeping on with my water. I'm being careful though not to go over the black because I don't want to smear or bleed that. I just want to add the brown into his shading and textures and everything. And you don't have to worry about him being all shiny either if you decide to do this kind of technique, because right now he almost looks like a porcelain figure, right? Like he's glazed. He'll dry, and once he dries, he becomes all matted again. Now we're going back to the dice. They've had a time to harden, and I'm just using a fine tip black food coloring marker to put the little dots on the dice. I believe in the movie they were skulls, but I am not that good to make teeny tiny skulls, so I just stuck them on just like you saw there. So I added a little bit of water to his arm, put that little piece of gum paste, that thin white strip there, a little bit more water on top, and then press the dice into place. And you see how he's all dry? And there you go. You got Oogie Boogie holding his dice, ready to gamble your life away. So I hope you found this video helpful. Please like and subscribe. It does help me out. I've got lots of other videos out there besides Nightmare Before Christmas, so check those out. And thank you for watching Caketastic Cakes.